Hello and welcome back to the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? What's going on in your life? How you feeling?
I'm good.
L'Shana Tova to those who celebrate. If you don't know what that means, it's Happy New Year because this is the Jewish New Year.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That will have happened already last week.
Yeah, we're heading towards Yom Kippur.
You're going
People hate when people say it that way.
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
Yom Haktwa.
Haktwa. What are you doing for it?
I'm going to Boca tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to go...
Are you going to Temple?
No, we're going to go watch the ball drop in the center of Boca.
At
the New
sundown?
Year. I've been doing that. My buddy did that joke once years ago,
That's
and
funny.
I've been using it.
I like it.
It's one of my favorite. He's like, where are you watching the ball drop? And I was like, this hit me in a way. It tickled my anus in a way that I really have enjoyed ever since. I told him today, I was like, you did that joke, and I can't stop repeating it. So I'm going to go to Boca. They do like a thing. It's going to be exhausting. I don't know why I give myself to these things.
Do you go to Temple?
No temple.
Temple.
No. We will, in spirit, we'll golf.
You do like a meal.
We're going to go to they live at a country club. So we'll go to the club, and it's just 2 hours of saying hello to people.
Okay.
So
And you like this?
No, I don't like it, actually. But I must like it because I keep signing up for it.
You keep going, right.
I keep going, but like, where else am I going to go? Someone last night, I was at the Comedy Cellar, and they were like, you could have came with us. We have a whole thing. It's like a young, fun thing. I was like, that's what I should be doing. What am I talking to these old people for?
Right.
They're like, yeah, we all like fuck afterwards. Like, it was like this like big, beautiful,
That sounds
fun.
really fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I was so mad. He was like he's like these Sephardic Jew, we're Russian background. Eastern Europe. Yeah, we're we're like the hairy Jews. Like, they're sexy. He was
You mean
from
like the Persians?
The Persians are sexy Jews. Yeah, they are like, they like know how to dance and shit. Like, they're doing like the clasps of the fingers.
Right.
Is this a horrific thing to say about them?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure.
I think this is a compliment.
My dad used to like say, it's funny, my dad would always claim that we were Sephardic.
What I would do, I can't dance.
But then I did the 23andMe,
Yeah.
and he was just lying. It's fun. The best part about 23andMe is you just get to find out how much your parents. I mean, we'll talk about this in our Love Is Blind episode, but you just get to find out how much your parents just like lie to you about like where you're from.
Oh my God!
Or like say someone lied to them.
Right. I'm not a 23andMe guy.
I love giving my DNA to anyone who asks.
Right. That's not the reason. Listen. I am. Like the airport, do you know this like 3D picture they take of you?
With your eyes?
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can, there's another line of the airport that like is the fastest one.
Right.
And you can see, like, I'm in this line and I'm like, I'm doing the picture, no ID. Like, they're like, yep, Jared Freed, Jared Lewis Freed. Like, they know everything about you. They're like, oh,
global entry. Just look at in the
just looking in the thing. So you're like, I know I've given away all my information at this point.
Right.
I don't give a fuck. Like, if it gets me through security in 30 seconds quicker.
Yeah.
In.
I'm all for giving all my information to anyone who wants it.
Right. But the 23andMe thing, I don't need to, I don't need to like find a Batman origin story. Like it feels like people do 23andMe, white people specifically to find out they're interesting. I don't need that in my life. I don't care.
Well, I did it, and then I forced Mike to do it.
Yeah.
I like,
I don't
put a
have
gun
wife
to his head,
force me.
asked him to spit into the tube.
Give it away.
He had like no desire to do it. I'm like, I got you a gift. Now you're just gonna.
I don't even know what is to be found from it. Like,
it's your history. How can you know where you're going if you don't know where you come from?
What are you, on the payroll?
I am.
They sponsor you?
I love it. I don't know.
So what was Mike? Did he anything interesting?
He's pretty Italian.
Okay.
He's pretty great. It's the
Chris Columbus.
The funny part was like he's equally Jewish as he is black.
Oh.
He has the same percentage Jewish as black.
Okay,
so
there you go.
not a lot of either.
Okay.
Yes.
not much of either. Yeah. Okay. Well, then good for him.
Yeah.
Were you? Any Italian?
99.8% Ashkenazi Jewish.
You're just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to tell my dad that he was full of shit.
No Sephardic.
Not 0%.
I know. I've looked at my grandparents. They're all just like bearish. Ukrainian, Russian looking.
Right. Well, your parents might be
whatever.
cousins. They look very similar.
They do. What are you going to do for the holiday? Do you do
I'm
it?
going to my mom's.
You going to go to temple?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Does your mom put out
She is the worst at hosting.
Yeah,
and that's where I
can't see
get
your
it.
mom
I'm
hosting.
not
As
a
much
great
as I love
host.
your mom.
Horrible.
Yeah, I can't see
Mike
her.
always eats to like over fullness before he goes to my house.
At least listen. That's a relationship. That's a negotiator. He's compromising. He's going. I know tonight I'm eating.
Food is not. You're right.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Gonna make sure I stuff myself before I go. He'll have all the gushers.
Yeah, and I wish I was like I came from a hosting family, so I knew what to do. Like I myself have not inherited good hosting tendencies.
Wasn't in your 23andMe.
No, it wasn't. There wasn't a section for
Hosting,
that.
0%.
Yeah. There's gonna, and my mom doesn't really eat. I think that's probably part of it.
Right.
That she's just not into food.
No, this is another Jewish.
That's another. You've said several times this is like a deal breaker on your.
But I've seen this type of person at a Rosh Hashanah before.
Right.
The person who's like, oh, all this food, and they're not eating anyways.
Yeah.
That's like my least favorite person at any event.
Well,
is we got all this food, but they don't eat.
She's never.
It's like, you don't have to eat. You already
well,
don't
that's
eat.
Why, no, she doesn't even get that. That's what I'm saying. Because she doesn't eat, it's worse than that. Because she doesn't eat, she doesn't get. She doesn't really like get any food.
And then she wants to host.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like, everyone will come here,
and would sit and look
I have
at each other?
edamame.
Edamame.
We have a soup.
This is my nightmare.
That's what I'm saying. Mike is like, that's why he has to prepare.
So everyone's just sharing an edamame?
Basically.
I've never been more depressed than I am
It's not.
right now.
She's not a host. She's not a host.
But then she wants to host. That's a very fun sitcom character.
Yes.
Yeah.
The person.
Terrible
person.
That's a great written character. Right. That's like a foe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I do think a lot of these things are sort of like learn from how you grew up. Like if you were hosting an event, not that you would.
At my
you would
studio
host
apartment,
it like
you can go look at it on
host.
YouTube. What? Yeah, my parents. It's funny. My mom and dad. My dad's parents, my grandparents on his side were like big. Actually, they both were big. Have people over people. You know, my dad's side of the family, like their house was like, I think they had 4 kids, so like everyone just came in and out as they went. Like it was like the doors open to everyone.
Open door, right?
Yeah, everyone went through their house. I think that was kind of the thing.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a big like, we're gonna have a big tailgate for Michigan football. Like that was like all he cared about. And even as he got older, like he was like dying, but he was like, we're still having the tailgate. And like everyone would come over, there'd be a popcorn machine and all that shit. But
yeah. Well, to bring it back to dating. Do you think
is that what this show's about?
Do you think like someone's hosting ability would be like a plus or a minus for you? Would you factor that in?
For me, I would be turned on by that.
She's having people over and she's got all the things. She's got like a cute serving platter.
Yeah, like that's the serving platter. I think the excitement to do it, the creativity that goes into like having people over. And how they handle it, like, you know, like, to reference my mom would have people over, but make everyone feel awful about coming over. So like that to me, I have like.
Is that what you're looking for?
No, I want you to like have people over and act like it's like nothing to you.
Right.
Like that is such a refreshing person to me. Like that someone would be like,
make it look easy.
Make it look easy, right. And then like, you know, they kind of like the cooking and cleaning element of it. Like there's a lot of work to be done.
Totally.
But some people like love that they're always moving and that they're putting together like a vision and they're sitting people and they're bringing people together. My mom like wants to be that, but then wants to make everyone feel guilty for having made her do all this work.
Remind them of all that. She doesn't like, someone who's good at their craft makes it look easy.
Right. And doesn't make it your problem.
Right. And someone who's not good at their craft, it's like, you know, it's like when you notice someone's acting in a movie, it's like they're a bad actor.
Right.
If you don't think about the fact that they're acting, they're a good actor.
There's no question that if my mom had people over, it'd be like, I cook and clean and everyone comes over. No one takes their shoes off. And you're like, this is what happens. Like no one's coming to your house with plastic over their shoes like it's a work site. You know, like it's like, that's crazy. You have to expect, the dirt.
So we're adding another thing to your list. Woman who's good at hosting.
I I like to, like, I think I would like to be a part
Would you
of
like
that.
to do all the work involved in hosting?
I would like to be like more of a,
Pay for all the things that you need to host, but not actually do it. I don't see
Right.
you loving like, now I'm going to load the dishwasher as soon as everyone leaves.
I want to do front of house stuff. I want to be like the owner of the restaurant that comes around and shakes everyone's hands,
Right.
but doesn't do any of the other
that
stuff.
sounds like the fun part.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm looking for. Is a
Like, that's the kind of father I'm going to be too.
Right.
How are you doing today,
Hey.
son?
Papa Clown. Yeah, I just come out, I make some smiles,
Yeah.
make a fun joke. I'll be taking a nap. You know, you guys take care of all the mess I just made.
That sounds beautiful.
That's right.
I
I'm a
love it.
catch.
Well, Happy New Year.
Well, thanks. Same to you, and to all the good boys and girls. We have an update that I am so excited to talk about.
Pumped.
We have an update, and this is the Jetsons meet the Flintstones of this, Betches universe.
Yes.
It's oversharing, crossing into you up, and now we have an update about oversharing sent into here.
Exactly. It's like when two reality stars from different shows start dating.
Right. This is the Craig Conover and Paige DeSorbo
Yes.
of things.
Of podcast emails.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so it was originally discussed on Oversharing on 9/17. And this emailer, and I am an Oversharing listener and fan. And Jordana and her sister, Dr. Naomi, discussed a listener went on a trip with her husband's friends and was put in a room with 4 other guys. They were farty and loud sleepers. So after the first night, she found a hotel 4 minutes away, a 4-minute walk away. The husband thought this was weird and would ruin the vibe. So she ended up sleeping in the house and didn't go to the hotel.
But she was pissed off at the husband.
Pissed at the husband that she was on this 5-day trip,
Resentful.
I think.
Yes.
And was in this house where she was living like one of the grandparents from Willy Wonka.
Yes.
And I listened to this, and you guys were like, yes, we would be annoyed. This husband messed up.
Totally.
And I was listening, being like, this woman writing in sounds like a difficult bitch. In my most nice terms, okay? In the way I would love this girl. I'm sure she's great.
Okay.
So we discussed it here.
She sounds like a pain in the ass, as someone
That's
would say.
that's a better way to put it.
A pain in the ass.
Let me apologize to anyone who was upset by the difficult bitch line that I just used.
Pain in the ass.
I take it back. She's a pain in the ass. A lovable pain in the ass.
As a difficult bitch, I take offense to that.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Apologies to all the difficult bitch, all the DBs, out there. I'm sorry. I'm wrong.
Okay.
She's a pain in the ass.
Yes.
A PIA.
Yes.
Okay. A PETA.
Yes. So she listened to us. She and her husband listened to us.
Right. So you go ahead
I'll
and
read
read
her email.
So then I came on You Up and was like, I listened to the episode. I have to give.
You disagreed with our take.
I just thought that another voice should be heard as far as a guy, me, who has brought woman on trip, who I was like, there's other things at play.
Like, you were you basically, to give you a bad edit, you said it's her fault for not finding out what the arrangements were before going.
Absolutely.
That was
fine
your
with
take.
That. Yeah,
I disagreed with it. That was your take.
Fine. That I didn't buy that a PETA, a pain in the ass, would just like blindly walk into a trip and then all of a sudden be able to like boop, boop, bop, boop, boop, go in a hotel 4 minutes away. Like her actions on the trip didn't resemble the actions going into the trip.
Didn't make sense to you. Something was amiss.
I was tasting it.
Yes.
Tasted like shit.
All right. Well, let's hear her update
Okay.
after she listened to that. Hi. Oh my God. I was cracking up over Jared's take on You Up. So I had to follow up. My husband and I have moved on, and I played him Jared's rant on You Up this morning, and we were cracking up.
Yes.
Jared said he would pay for the husband's side.
Yes.
I want to first say I'll take full responsibility. I wrote that in the heat of the moment, and I needed to chill out before sending. It didn't paint the whole picture.
If you're watching on YouTube, my fist is in the
Someone
sky.
feels vindicated.
I feel good.
Well, let's see. Let's see
Okay.
how vindicated you should feel.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a key point I didn't fully explain. Jared's right. We should just stop there. Jared's right. I don't really like this group of friends, so that's a big part of it. Hope they're not listening.
Well, this might help her get out of this,
Yeah. These are my husband's post-college roommates, but they all moved away from San Francisco where we live right when we met, so I don't know them well. I've tried to connect with them, but it hasn't clicked. And I think my husband didn't want to make that dynamic worse or put it on display by me leaving.
It's an admission that this is not working with them too.
There was a tension.
Right.
Sure.
You're admitting to it. You're going, and he's probably, if I'm to speak for him a little bit now that I've been right, is that he's probably going, I can fix them. Like I can bring this.
All they need to do is spend 5 nights in the same room together.
Right. Which is wrong.
Yes.
But okay.
For what it's worth, I'm close with his group of friends in San Francisco. Me not meshing with his friends isn't a theme in our relationship. It's just this specific group, especially the host of the weekend.
That's another point. You hate the host of the weekend. This is where I'm brought back to like nightmare experiences that I've gone through.
Okay.
Where, and I'm saying this, I've sound bad this whole episode so far. I'm sorry. Everyone, if you hated me, asking if the dead woman in the hallway was hot last week,
you're going to continue to hate me.
You're going to continue to hate me.
This
feels like a very female thing where it's like, I don't like the host.
Okay.
So I'm going to go, but arms crossed, and I'm going to be like, there's no give.
You're on guard.
Yes.
Right.
You see this at comedy shows where someone in the room is, if you come to a comedy show being like, I don't like comedy shows, you're probably not going to like comedy shows. You're not going to like be broken and like someone's going to say the spell that makes you a big laugher.
Okay.
Like you just have no give. And you see this like a lot of time with guys and audiences, men have this like ego of like knowing comedy. So if they don't know someone, they're like, and maybe their girlfriend, like it happens with me a lot. The girlfriend knows me. She's like, oh, I like this guy. I've known. And then the guy's like, well, I don't know him.
Right.
Arms
We're here
crossed.
to be impressed.
Right.
Okay.
Then show me how funny you are, funny man. She's doing, show me how cool you are, host,
I guess, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right, I get it. We were staying at my husband's friend and her family's house, which complicated things. He didn't want to be a rude guest, and frankly, the host is a bossy and a lot to deal with. I hope she's not listening. I know she would have reacted badly if I left, and I think my husband wanted to avoid that drama and maybe protect me looking bad in this group. But I was ready to go. I didn't care how she'd react since no one else volunteered to sleep in that room. There was also an awkward moment when we arrived with another couple. The girl hosting greeted us at midnight after delays, said, "Who wants to share a room? There's only one left with a queen." When the other girlfriend and I exchanged looks, I caved and I said, "I'll share," thinking it'd be with one other guy, not 4 others. My husband didn't ask beforehand and the host didn't plan it either, but in some ways I volunteered. To me, that's the most important part.
Is that
she volunteered.
right?
That part, that fact that she left that part out, to me, that's she agreed to it.
Right. And she agreed to everything going into this, and then to the thing that she knew would really not work out for her.
If I were the husband, though, I still think the husband is wrong here.
Here's where
let me finish.
agree
We'll
with you.
fully get into it. For context, I'm 38 and he's 28. Cougar.
Yeah.
She said this. I don't think nostalgia was involved, as Dr. Naomi suggested, but he definitely has FOMO when it comes to group activities. I love my husband. We literally just got married July 20th. Sorry, we meant to invite you, J&J and Dr. Naomi, and honestly, all of the Betches world. He's super polite and maybe a bit of a people pleaser, but I guarantee he won't make me share a room on a group trip for more than 2 nights after this. It's become a running joke between us now, especially the CPAP machine. Best, totally go with the flow, chill, girl, wife. I think the age difference is also important.
Absolutely.
Also important.
Yes.
These are all very important details.
When you're 28 and you have your 30,
you have your old ass girlfriend.
Some old hag, you got to bring her. So,
no, I do think something, I mean, I've talked about this when I turned 30. I do think something happens when you turn 30 where you're like, I've had enough of the uncomfortable situations.
Right.
But it almost feels like in your late 20s, you would still do it.
You still give it the old college try.
Yes.
You're like, and listen, we all come to this moment differently. Like, and her and her husband are coming to that conclusion at different times. He might not be over the, we'll all sleep in one room and go to the college tailgate on Saturday. There's some guys that never grow out of that. Like, and they learn, my wife isn't getting brought on that trip. You know, like,
save that for a bachelor party.
Right. Like you choose your spots, and it seems that they're feeling each other out still for these things. I'm with you. Like, I agree. The husband is a wuss.
Yeah, I still think he's annoying. I still think she could be mad at him in case she's forgiven him. I just want her to know that it's still annoying. I think it was the husband's job when the woman was like, does anyone want to volunteer to sleep in the room with other people? It was the husband's job, knowing his wife and knowing he's there with his 31-year-old wife.
There better be,
like to be like,
is there a ramp to get her up to the room?
I don't think we're gonna.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, like, it's his job because it's his friends. I do think when you are with, and that goes for family or friends. If I bring Mike somewhere with my friends, I am advocating on his behalf. I'm not saying, Mike, go ask them for a towel. I'm going to ask for the towel.
Fair.
Because it's like my friends and I'm more comfortable with them. It's my family. If I'm not saying, Mike, go figure out the air conditioning situation at my family's house. No, it's on him to make sure she's comfortable with his friends.
Right. I think it's like a learning experience though too. This isn't like end the marriage. This is like you're learning that your husband is not really thinking of the details.
Right.
To him, in my most empathetic view of him and his, because I'm him. I know. I've been in this position that he was in, where it's like you're in charge of planning, you do it, and then someone says to you, "We're sharing a room," and you go, "Yeah, I guess I didn't think of that." And you're like, "How could you not think of me
at all?"
Right,
yeah.
And it has.
I mean, they're married. They didn't just start dating. That's
I know,
the other
but
part of it.
I've been in relationships where it's been brought to me, and I go, "That is a way to think of it. That is way more personal than I would have made it." I don't think he thinks, that he's going to be staying like little orphan Annie for 5 nights.
Right. But then once that happened, he should be more protective. I do believe that.
Well, then you're in the situation, in his defense, of she doesn't like anyone here. I got to figure out how to make it so she doesn't blow up on everyone else and they don't realize that she hates their guts. Like, I think he was like trying to keep
everyone happy.
Everyone happy at once. And he knew that the minute he went and made a bold move, he loses certain people in his life, to be honest.
Well, if he loses certain people in his life because they got a hotel room instead of staying in a room with 5 men, I think those weren't very close friends of his. If that was my group of friends, I think someone would totally undernd.
Well, I think what you're risking is not losing the friends, but like, when
being a little weird.
When we do the couples trip, we thought you just didn't want to come. You're
right.
Yeah. Yeah, the dinners, those 2 couples are going to get close. We're not going to get close with the couples. I'm now having, I think that happens with every relationship and marriage, is there's like the A group and the B group. Which friends kind of take over our lives? Which family? This happens with parents.
Yeah.
Who's the A grandparent? Who's the B grandparent?
Well, a lot of the time it's the grandparents that are thinking of you more.
Right.
Right? It's the friend group where that treat you more
respectfully. I ain't going to
respectfully.
edamame night over, big 7-fish fillet night.
Where do you think we go every Thanksgiving?
Right. This is things grandparents don't like to admit to either.
Right, that they're a part of it.
Right, they're a part. Like you see,
if you want to be the A group, you have to act in an A group manner.
Right, you got to be fun.
Yes.
You got to bring it.
It's not just a given. I think that's the thing people assume is like, oh, it's a given that my kid will want to like come to me for everything.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure, this guy it's not a given your friend. Well, these are a secondary group, she says. She gets along with the other ones.
I think her explanation gives the husband more sympathy, but I still think he's wrong.
Here's where I also agree with her. And he's not seeing this. You can't keep a large group of friends as you get older. Like,
well, not to the same extent.
Well,
who don't live in your city.
But this group that she's like, the way she described this group, it's like the secondary group.
Right.
She's like, the people in San Francisco we get along with. These guys moved away. They're coming back. We're on this other trip. We're kind of like, I think I've seen friends of mine in relationships like this where like one of the couple is like, I'm someone to everyone. Mm-hmm. And there's a point where you go, you're going to shed these people.
We got to trim the fat.
Right. I don't want to hang with, your miserable friend that you're keeping up with because you went to high school together.
I mean, if it were me and this was Mike and he had multiple groups of friends, I would say yes. I would love to cut the friends that make me sleep in the room with 4 bunk beds.
Right.
If I'm cutting, that's where I would start.
If we are to cut.
Yes, if I must cut, that is where I'm starting.
Okay. Thank you to the PETA for writing back in with the update to the whole situation. It really made me feel like fulfilled. Like that was satisfying. Meant a lot. Let's jump right in. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do an email. Is rematching on the apps a good idea? I like this question.
All right, let's get into it.
Long-time listener, first-time emailer. Love you both. Appreciate all that you do. Let's dive in. Please be kind.
It makes us sound like monsters. Have mercy. Have mercy.
Don't worry. It's not like we call our listeners difficult bitches.
Please. Oh, you call them that.
I take it back.
PETAs.
PETA could be fun. That'd be a fun hat.
I like that.
What, PETA? Oh, you like PETA?
I have PETA pride.
I have PETA pride. I'm a big pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for.
That's my life. I'm a 35-year-old woman living in Boston. I recently matched on a dating app with a guy who I went on one date with 2 years ago. I usually don't like to rematch and figure it's kind of useless, but here we are. Some background on the 2022 date. We went to dinner. I thought we had a good conversation and chemistry. He kissed me at the restaurant. And then again when he walked me home after dinner. Nothing more than a street makeout. We had a few drinks, so naturally got ahead of ourselves and talked of future plans, etc. I rarely get excited after one date, but I was excited about him. And at the very least, thought we'd go out again. Long story short, I reached out to him. Bad sign. She wrote that.
Yeah.
A few days after our date, we exchanged a few messages over the week, but no second date. At the time, he was newly single, under a year, and out of a 15-year marriage with whom he shares children. We talked a bit about the situation at dinner, but I didn't want to pry and thought we'd get into more details if things progressed. So, we matched today, 2024. There is a 0 to 3% chance this guy remembers me or that we've already been out. My first question, do you think I should message him? 2, if I do message, when, if at all, do I bring up the fact that we've already been out? How can I do this in a non-stalker, I've been thinking of you kind of way? In reality, I remember him because I was surprised how wrong I read the situation and felt dumb for thinking we had such a good connection.
Aw.
Anyways, I'd love your thoughts and suggestions. Thanks so much. A nice but forgettable bitch.
I'm sure she's not forgetting.
Her words.
You've been on entire trips to Miami with people you don't remember. So she should not take this too personally.
Well, that's kind of like, that was my overriding. You and I are on the same page.
I use that now as the bar for forgetting.
For how people can
Yes,
forget someone.
yes.
I still, every day I wake up, I go, just remember one thing from that trip. Can't remember it.
I mean, I think it's to forget you went on. This is one date they went on.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't fault him for forgetting it.
Hold on. This is
All right.
you
Sorry, back
women,
up.
you women,
Petas, us
you
petas.
PETAs need to chill. You need to be easier on yourself.
Okay.
I read this and I was like, this woman needs a pep talk. She's fantastic. I love her email. Like I think she starts with be kind to me. I rematched on an app. I'm a big fucking loser. And it's like, no, you're doing it, kid. Like I don't, the way she's manipulated this story to be so negative is actually crazy to me.
I get why she's doing it though. She was like rejected.
No, she was not. Here's the thing. She never owns her own story. She invents a story for
How
this
would
other
you
guy.
own the story? Oh, give me a different way to tell this story.
Well, we don't know what's going on his side. The different way, speak in I terms. Forget him.
Let's hear you retell
went
the
on a
story in a more positive, empowering way.
I went on a date with this guy. I could tell this for myself. I went on a great date with this girl. We made out at the restaurant. Then we made out after on the street. I texted her a couple days later, never got back to me, but I had a really good time. I guess things, I guess we kind of like both fizzled.
Okay.
Never worked out.
You're calling a fizzle.
This
okay.
is the difference between ghosting and fizzle.
Right.
Like, hey, what happened to that girl? You know, like I can tell you, and I'm telling her not to speak in you terms, and I'm not to speak for him, but from his side, the idea that she remembers and he definitely doesn't. She doesn't know that.
That part I agree with. Right. She said there's a 0 to 3% chance. Why does she assume that?
My whole life, I have to remember, I am not that smart. I'm also not that stupid. I'm somewhere pretty average.
Okay.
That's most people. We are all the center part of the bell curve. That's why it
Right.
exists.
I don't know why she assumes he doesn't remember.
Even if he doesn't, it's not so personal. She's made it so personal. She signs
Well,
off
it feels
a
personal.
nice but forgettable bitch. Betch. Like I
You're just in bitch mode today.
I'm total bitch mode. No, I think she seems
I can
so
see,
aware
can you
and
not
cool.
see why it would feel personal?
I can, but I think that's your choice. She's making the choice.
Well, it feels personal because she was more into it than he was.
He's got kids, 15-year marriage, everything about. Here's the thing. You can't, everyone is on it's called a dating app, but that means so many different things to different people. Some people are on dating apps to just be on a dating app and be out there. That's their way of getting out there. Some people go on a first date because it's their way of like getting some reps and getting back in the game. Sometimes you're on a first date with someone and you've been on a third date with someone else and you're kind of you're still wondering, does this third date go anywhere? So you go on the first date to see if that person makes you realize that the other person isn't really a good match for you, or there's just so many scenarios where the assumption that he walked away from that day was like, oh, thank God I wasn't gone from that.
Right.
Horrible makeup, her whole vibe. So the rematching, and again, it's 2 years. I think a rematch after 2 years, yeah, great.
What should she say?
I would go, hey, long time no see. I'd admit, I remember you. That's vulnerability.
Yeah.
Let's say he writes back.
So that's what she should say.
Yeah,
long time no see.
How's the dating world treating you?
Okay.
Just get into it. And
then if you got that message with someone let's say you didn't remember, would that
jog
jog your memory?
It might jog my memory. I'd go search him out. Oh, when did I see this person?
Okay.
I might fake it if I was like really attracted.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go, oh, there you are.
It's you.
Hey, kiddo.
It's you.
Right. Or I would go, Google in the same way you would Google.
Does the fact that he matched with her again?
That means he's got this. Again, we talked
Still
about types.
into her. Okay, yeah.
That's his type.
Right.
I've rematched with people. I've gone on dates. I went on a date recently with someone that I had rematched with.
Do you think it's worth going out with again? Let's say,
absolutely. But let's stay realistic.
Probably won't work out.
Well, I would say, past performance does not indicate future results, as they say in the investment community.
Okay.
But it's the only information we have. So you go on the date, you're 2 years older, you say, if you do the same song and dance and then it happens again, what was one night and one date? But you're not gonna, you won't be fooled the third time.
Should she bring up the last date on the date?
Yeah, I think that would be like a very interesting conversation of like, listen,
why didn't you call me?
Right. If I went on this date, I would go on it and I would, with like full faith energy.
Okay.
And I would say, I gotta say, like, I had a lot of fun on the last date. And then I texted you and I felt let down.
Right.
And
I thought we had a great time.
Right. And I had a great time.
I had a great time.
That's how I would say.
Okay.
And then he's going to have a story. And I think the more vulnerable you are with like how you were let down, like that's not like, to me, someone could say that's like, you're giving up your power. Like, don't let him know. I'm like, nah, I don't believe that. Mm-hmm. Like,
well, it's more power. It's more empowering to find out answers to what you want to know.
Exactly. And at that point, you'll find out if you're on a good date or not. Because now a first date that's a rematch becomes really a more depthy first date to me. Mm-hmm. Like where, let's say he gets back, he goes, listen, I was out of a 15-year marriage. I just got on the apps. I'm overwhelmed. We had a good time. I'm messaging 7 people at once because that's kind of what guys do when they get back on the apps. They
first time single in 15 years. That's fair.
I got 2 kids. I got, I'm working out my schedule with the kids and with the apps and with the dating. And honestly, I was, my eyes were bigger than my stomach then. And now I'm at the dating game 2 years later. I'm kind of looking for something different.
Now I'm looking to settle.
Right.
I've seen what's out there.
Right. I don't know. I think you get a refresh. I think you get.
No, I think that's true.
And I think you're going to see right away. Like, and again, if you speak in I terms, then you can get turned off.
Right. The worst case scenario is that he's just looking to fuck around and you find that out again after another date.
Right. And I would, my biggest advice is like, treat it as the problem becomes, and again, with the fuck around guy, it's like, oh, there's another side of this where it's like, oh, she rematched. She knows that I'm like, she'll put up with this shit.
Right. Well, that's why you've got to say that on the date, like what you said.
Right.
This is what happened. Acknowledge what happened last time, how it made you feel.
Yes.
And that person is unlikely to think that.
Right. Yeah. Because they'll go, oh, she's for real. She remembers.
Yeah.
This wasn't, oh, I don't give a shit. You know?
Totally.
So I think that's a great email. I think that's like a really like
great advice.
Yeah, I
killed it.
I'm giving her the other side.
No, I think it's a very empowering way to do it. It's a very positive way to do it.
Right. I had a girl.
I think we were kind.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I told her she's great.
There you go. All right, let's do an awkward encounter.
Let's do it.
Hey there. Been a long-time listener and absolutely love the podcast. It makes me laugh and gets me through my morning runs a lot easier.
Is that my wife?
Is that my wife? I started dating one of my close friends of 3 years recently, and it has been absolutely awesome. We know and respect each other already, but are getting to know one another on a different level, and it's going great so far.
Love it.
Backstory. We met at a New Year's Eve party cruise, and we had a lot of things in common, and most importantly, Lake Tahoe. That's an interesting sentence. He lives there.
They fuck on the boat? What is that? That sounds like the way a mom would tell a story about fucking your dad.
It's all over the place.
We shared a party cruise, and lots of memories were made.
Most importantly, Lake Tahoe.
Most importantly, Lake Tahoe.
What happened at the lake?
If you know what I mean.
If you know, you know. Backstory.
Lake Tahoe is what I call the toilet we fucked on.
He lives there, and my family is from there, but I live in LA. The group we met through travels around the world and parties. What group is this?
I mean, this is like Real Housewives of the Mormon County. Yeah, this feels very Reno 911.
Yacht Week?
Yeah, look at them.
So we've been on about 20 trips together over the past few years and have grown a lot closer. He always hit on me jokingly, or we would joke that we'd get together when I'm 35 if I'm still single. One day.
Fun joke.
Right? So my best friend's wedding. One day it all hit me how he's basically everything I'm looking for. And why wouldn't I go for it? I have to say that many women have this feeling over someone they kind of have on the back burner when they're at a low point in their life. And why? It's been him the whole time.
I know. Well, they romanticize something that is like, we could tell this story way differently.
Yes.
Right.
I think it's been you the whole time.
Right.
Right.
You've been waiting.
Right under my nose. Okay. He's basically everything I'm looking for, and why wouldn't I just go for it? So long story short, we hooked up on 4th of July and have been doing long distance since.
The fireworks in the sky.
After a little over a month and a half of dating, we had to attend his grandmother's funeral in Reno, and it was going to be my first time meeting his family. Can you think of anything more depressing setting?
Going to Reno? No.
To someone's grandma's funeral in Reno?
Yeah, that's horrible. I've been to Reno. There's videos on my YouTube channel when I went and did the TED Talk in Reno.
How was it?
Reno.
I went there when I did my bachelorette in Lake Tahoe.
Right. The Tahoe thing is a different thing.
You have to fly into Reno.
Yes. The Reno.
Sad airport.
Yeah, sad casino space.
Yeah.
It's, not to besmirch Reno. I did have I went to a chili cook-off in Reno.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
You seemed to have a good time
I
there.
did have a good time there.
Everything went great, and it was fun meeting all of them. I don't know if that's supposed to be how you describe someone's. I'm just imagining someone. I'm just imagining someone describing my funeral like that, like my grandson's new girlfriend. It was
Some
great.
chickies banging.
I had such a good time.
Right, it really does take the attention off of you.
Right, it was so fun meeting all of them.
Everyone was just like so nice. We're partying. That dead body in the corner, just sitting there.
Later that weekend, my grandma asked him what his grandmother's name was because, unbeknownst to us, she had seen the obituary in the paper. He said her name, and then my mom asked him who her daughter was to him, and he replied that it was his mom. My mom and grandma started laughing immediately because she asked what his half-sister's name was, and as soon as he said it, my mom was like, "That is my niece." Okay. Both of us looked so confused. So his mom married my mom's half-brother and had a daughter, his half-sister, then divorced him and married his dad, and they had him. They lost touch with that side of the family when my mom was 5 because my mom's dad died, which is why they never really crossed paths. So technically, I'm blood cousins with his half-sister, and my mom is her aunt by blood and kind of technically his aunt as well. Thankfully, we are not blood related, just by marriage, but it's all pretty funny and crazy to think about how small the world really is.
This is like so confusing. I'm just going to take her word for it.
I kind of get it.
Well, you're
I
from a
think,
family
yeah,
where
as
these
some-
things are like,
Right.
you've done this math
Yes,
before.
I have siblings all over the place.
Right.
There's a 60% chance anyone I meet is my half sister.
That's why you took the 23andMe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To find all of them. It's pretty funny and crazy to think of how small the world really is. It doesn't bother us, but does make for an interesting story / family tie. And we love to mess with people by saying we're cousins.
Fun. Got
Thanks.
us. We're cousins. No, but really, like that
You shouldn't do that, because that's literally everyone's just going to spread that and people will believe that you're cousins.
right. And also, there's a point where then you have to explain it, and like the way she just explained it here, I'm like, I'm
it still
done.
kind of feels like you're
I'm done. I'll believe you. Can you
Right.
stop talking to me?
Don't.
Can I get to the food now?
Wanted to know your thoughts and if you could still date a person that was technically a cousin but not blood related. Thanks for all you do and can't wait to hear what you guys think. Signed, best to keep it in the family.
I'm happy for them. I'm happy they found each
This is
other.
fine.
It makes sense that they would get along we agree, we get along on everything, and then it turns out that you're like you were raised by very incestual,
Right.
but not incestual kind of circumstances.
You've got a lot in common.
Right.
Yes.
It's no wonder you were attracted to one another. Like
Yeah.
it actually makes some sense.
And if she ever needs a kidney, she can find his half sister.
Good to go.
So
that's a Jordana, always looking at the positives.
I'm always
and,
looking for kidneys
Yes.
wherever I can find them. Just
what
in
kind of
case.
you got both kidneys?
Just in case.
I would say, my only advice to them is your story. I don't know how.
Stop telling
good
people you're cousins.
Yeah, the party story. I don't know how great it is. I'd be so
Oh,
confused.
the party story.
Just like, we're cousins. No, but really, well, his mom dated the aunt and the half sister, and the blood isn't the blood. Like, I can see how this is boring to people.
I actually think it's interesting, but we just
Okay.
discussed I'm a 23andMe person.
Yeah, so maybe you got to find the right audience.
But I would also tell everyone that they're cousins. Like,
Right.
the
cousins. You
right,
call
Lauren,
them the cousins.
like she's dating her cousin.
Right.
I would tell everyone that. I wouldn't
Right.
explain the nuance of it. I would
Who you
spread
going
a
out with
vicious
tonight?
rumor.
Oh, the cousins will be there.
Yeah.
That's their nickname.
If they had a kid, I would be like, "Is the kid okay? You guys are cousins."
Cousin fuckers. Also, the Reno of it, like,
Right,
it all kind of adds up.
Totally.
Our Northeast brains go straight to, that's what they do in
That's
Reno.
just what they do out there.
Yeah, bunch of
Have-
disgustings.
Hook up with each other's cousins.
So,
But yeah, not
we
an
wish-
actual issue.
No, we wish them the best.
I would. Would you date someone you found out they're your
None of this would matter to me.
they're your step cousin, some shit like that?
Do they host good parties? I gotta
You find out someone's your mom's kid from her first marriage.
that I'm out. That would weird me
That's
out.
fair.
Sometimes I get
What if it was your mom? What if it was you find out the person you're dating is the daughter of your mom's first husband's second marriage, so not related to you at all, but your parents used to be married.
It wouldn't bother me.
Would be fine?
I think I'd be fine, but like
You wouldn't tell anyone.
it would be hard to distinguish how annoyed my mom would be. Like, what would
Right.
the shit I would get for that? Like, you made me. I don't know.
It'd have to be a running family thing.
It would have to be. I don't know
But
how.
you wouldn't be related.
No, I wouldn't be. As long as you're not related.
As long that's a good rule.
I
That's a
think
good
that's-
rule.
that's
So
my-
you up rules of etiquette as long as you're not blood related.
Right.
It's fine.
Hey, don't be blood related, then we can date. There we
Yes.
go.
All right, let's do another one.
Let's do another one. Jared and Jordana. Been a big fan of your podcast for a while. It's time to get your insight on a relationship situation that's been bugging me. Here's my deal. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. I genuinely believe he's a keeper. But here's where things get a bit murky. He's still super close friends with pretty much all of his exes. Let me give you the rundown. There's his high school on-again, off-again flame that was super intense. His last long-term girlfriend of 5 years. A girl he dated for a couple of years. And even a girl he met on OkCupid whom he didn't have sexual chemistry with, but stayed friends with. And that's just the ones I know about. There might be more in the mix. I mean, how old is this guy? 80? How could there be more? Now, I'm not insecure about this at all.
That's why she's
Yeah,
writing in.
I know them all. And I'm even good friends with the girl he dated for a couple years and the OK Cupid girl. But here's my question. Is it normal that he's still best buds with the ex of 5 years and the high school ex, and that he's regularly hangs out with the OK Cupid gal when I'm not around? Should I be impressed?
That part's important.
Yeah. Should I be impressed by this level of maturity and friendship? Or is it a red flag that's more like a parade at this point? I should mention that he has many male friends as well. Those are his primary friendships. I have a bit of a situationship history myself. There's this guy I've known for 8 years. Let's call him Mr. Vague. Okay. Mr. Vague.
Mr. Vague.
It's like a bad strip club name. And now, Mr. Vague. How big is his penis? We'll find out.
Sounds
maybe.
hot. Mr.
Vague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like someone that would fuck with you for a while. Sounds like a situationship.
Well,
guy.
that's the thing. Like, that's more sexualized than any of his.
It is. Yeah.
Like
It's
hers.
because his are real people. This is just an idea of someone.
She can't even have a name for him. He's got to be Mr. Vague.
Lord Voldemort.
Yeah. We had a super intense connection, but it never panned out because he was always non-committal. We broke up twice and finally called it quits for good the third time around. However, we've remained friends, and I do think he's a good guy. We meet up once or twice a year, and when we're in the same city, and my boyfriend knows about him. In fact, we've all hung out together. Everyone seems cool with it. So here's my dilemma. Am I being totally naive and possibly insensitive to everyone's feelings by keeping this friendship going? Do you think Mr. Vague is still holding out hope for something more, or am I just overthinking this? Should I keep this friendship alive, or is it time to let it go? I guess what I'm really asking is this all just how modern, mature relationships work, or am I turning a blind eye to potential issues? And as for Mr. Vague, is Mr.
She's Carrie Bradshaw.
Mr. Vague is, I can't shake this like mysterious guy.
Mr. Vague.
Yeah, Mr. Vague is still. Is it time to end that chapter for good, or is it time to keep things as they are? Your thoughts and advice would be a huge help. Excessively confused.
Okay, I think all of this is weird. Personally,
It's a giant fucking mess.
right? What do you think about? What do you think about the guy who's friends with all? Let's start there. All of his exes. All of them. High school, college.
The high school one makes
Okay,
the most.
Cupid.
Like
The high school one, I agree, kind of makes the most sense. It's been a long time, and maybe they were in the same group.
right, and those are like that's your home, that's your roots.
Right.
The more it keeps happening, the high school one becomes weirder considering the other friendships he's kept
Right.
up. Like,
You're friendly with exes.
I am friendly with exes in a way.
I don't think you'd be so friendly with them that your like new girlfriend would be hanging out with them and consider
No.
herself friends with them.
No, this is and here's the thing about
It's
this.
another level.
I know we want to answer first. Like, is it weird for guys to be friends with their exes? But it is weird that her email took a turn from asking about him and his exes being friends to, should I keep up with Mr. Vague?
Right.
Like
that to me is a clearer answer.
Well, that to me is like a response to you're gonna have your friends, I'm gonna have my friends.
Right. Because
Feel.
ordinarily, I think in a normal situation, she says the boyfriend's fine with it. I think ordinarily that would be like the weirdest thing of all. She wanted to date this because you have to think about the reason
Right.
things end, right?
Mhm.
That's a very important thing to think about when you think about how close you are with someone or any of that stuff.
Right. That's important.
The reason things ended with Mr. Vague is that he didn't want to date her. So I don't really see how that could. I wouldn't be comfortable with someone I'm dating hanging out with someone that broke up with them because they didn't want to date them.
And that they would ask the question, do you think they hang out with me because they're holding out hope
Right.
that I might come back or come back around? And it's like, the thing about exes and hanging around them is that they kind of do give you an ego puff.
Even if they're not trying to get back together with you.
Right. Like, I think from the guy sides too, I think like guys, I think from what I hear from women, and please tell me how you feel about this, like there is this thing of like getting over someone, and then when you're over it, you're like disgusted by them.
It takes, yeah.
You know, like
Right.
it takes a lot to get over
Mhm.
someone, but then when you're over them, it's not like you're like just like it is not in most cases.
You almost need that to fully get over someone. You need to truly believe that they are like a piece of shit.
Right. I
think,
don't
to
need.
really
I think that's the
for
thing.
a lot of women. Yeah.
For a lot of guys, I think like if you fucked us once, you would fuck us forever.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really see it that way because we see it the way we would see it. You know, like because we can. I think a lot of times we can separate the emotional from the physical.
Okay.
So I think with this guy, Mr.
Even if
Vague,
they're rejecting you.
yeah, but you never really believe it. We've already hooked up. You know, like
Okay.
and I'm not saying this isn't in a pestering, like we should hook up way. I mean it more in the Mr. Vague way. Mr. Vague, they meet up once or twice a year when they're in the same city. Like,
Right.
and they probably have like, and I'm making an assumption right now, but I can tell you this is based on, do you think Mr. Vague is still holding out hope for something more, or am I just overthinking
I think
this?
he'd have sex with her.
Yeah.
If she was
think,
interested.
right. And I think Mr. Vague, why does he get together with me? Because we're friends? No, you guys get together for a drink and it's a little bit flirty.
Right.
And
There's
it's
a little bit of attention.
Right. And it's nothing said and no one makes a move. No one could be like taken off in cuffs for making the wrong, you know, no one even takes one chance.
Mm-hmm.
But the getting together is the chance.
Right.
And you have a boyfriend, but he, you know, this drink's not as innocent as you could say it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and especially, I only say that because she's asking that question. Like, why would he spend the time with me once a
Why
year?
does she want to see him?
I think that's part of it
another
too.
question.
She
Right.
hasn't vilified him to the point of she's disgusted by him.
Right. Well, that's why to me it's like, are you truly over it?
Right. And now you're writing in because you doubt in the same way, you know, you're not fully over Mr. Vague. You don't believe that your boyfriend is over these relationships that he
Right.
keeps saying. When the finger
I'm-
points, 3 point back at you.
Right. So that also feels like I agree with your initial assessment that this is sort of a like, I'm gonna do this because like I'm allowed to because he does this.
Right.
But I think in a normal, healthy relationship, none of these things are happening. I do think you could
I'm
say,
with you.
the idea of staying friends with an ex, I think works until you get into a serious relationship. I think when you are in a serious relationship, you're not hanging out with your exes that frequently.
Right. Well, she says something. I'm like, where does this guy get the time?
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Like, there's a point where you go, these are nice people that maybe you message with every now and again, hope you're well.
Right.
That's different than like spending time.
Or like your Instagram story.
Right,
Or,
like-
or your Instagram post.
I have a
let's say.
couple exes that like I've messaged with over Instagram. They're married with kids.
Sure.
There is no like, so how you been? It's more just like,
Let's get together for a drink.
Right, no.
If you said that to them and they were in a normal, again, real serious relationship, I think they would be like, that doesn't feel appropriate.
right, Jared, are you drunk?
Glad
They-
you're well.
Right. And like I've gotten together with an ex via other friends who are getting together with that ex.
Right.
That's different too because we're all getting together in like
Yes,
a big
they
group
happen
setting.
to be there.
Right. And it's not. And again, this is like class and being appropriate. I think this is like these gray areas of
Yes.
like what's classy, what's appropriate. Like holding on to the friend from high school who was your serious. I think that to me is like more appropriate because
Right.
you share this like growing up together thing.
You're more likely to be in the same group of friends.
Right. The OK Cupid person, I don't know why they're around.
Right. I don't know why he needs another friend.
Right. And
You
you
said
say
he
it's
has
not his primary friends.
Right.
How the fuck is he keeping all this going?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's.
I think there's something amiss in the serious relationship that she's in.
Yeah.
Because I do think when you become in a real serious relationship, these things just kind of like fall away.
Right.
Not that you need to send a certified letter to all these people being like, I'm in a serious relationship. But when the person, if I'm in a serious relationship, and I've had this where an ex texts me and they're like, do you want to grab a drink? I would say, no, I don't really, I've had that happen. And I say, I don't really feel like that's appropriate.
Right.
But like, glad everything's good.
Well, that's the thing about like her. It's almost like she's befriending these exes because she's like, she's checking out the scene.
Mm-hmm.
She goes. She even says in her email, that now I'm not insecure about this at all. I know them all, and I'm even good friends with the girl he dated for a couple years, and the OK Cupid girl. Like, you're good friends. Like, what started that? That didn't start as like, I want to meet your ex. That started as, I need to see what the fuck is going on. And then you
Right.
got along. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, I don't know, I don't know. I
don't buy
think-
it.
I don't buy it. I think we're older too. I think someone younger listening would be like, I'm going to be with these friends forever. And it's like, you just can't. Like, I know it's hard to believe, but like, you have 365 days in the year. You have so much energy.
Yeah.
You got work functions, you got your relationships.
Unless it's like a superficial thing you've got going on with the boyfriend, with her actual boyfriend.
Right. But to me, the superficial thing is with these exes. Like,
But I'm saying it might be with all of them. She might be also another one of
Right.
the, just a loose tie almost
Right.
for this guy.
Right. He's not taking her as seriously as he didn't.
Right.
take
Because
the
if
other.
I'm taking someone seriously, I'm not hanging out with people I used to date. To me, that's a waste of my time.
Right. Yeah. And she's allowed, and then she's doing it. Again, this all feels like you have yours, so I have mine. And
Right.
I think to me, she needs to end the Mr. Vague thing. Like, I don't think that's a relationship that is.
I think it's
helping
weird
your
that it
life.
doesn't bother her current boyfriend. I would question how serious he was about me, that doesn't bother him.
Right. Yeah.
Don't you think, I mean, you're not like the most like anxiously attached, but I think if the woman you were dating twice a year, your girlfriend gets a drink with this guy who wouldn't date her, wouldn't you be like,
well, I'd be
this
like,
seems weird?
I'd be like, why are you keeping up this
Right.
relationship?
What are you getting out of this?
Right. Yeah. I would have that question. What does this serve you?
Right.
And then we'd have to have a talk. And then, well, what does your relationship with so and so serve you?
That's
I'd
a
probably
good
have-
conversation.
It's a good conversation to have. And those are hard for us to answer.
Right.
We don't know. I don't know. I would be.
Do we have the gavels? This is weird. I'm gonna roll. This is weird. All right. This is weird.
Weird. Yeah, I think though, like, if we only get to talk to the emailer. And this email went from my boyfriend has these weird relationships to, oh, also I hang out with this guy that dumped me.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you clean your house, then the
Yeah.
other house, either joins you or doesn't.
Great.
Let's play some games.
Let's do it.
We
Okay.
love a red flag deal breaker, don't we?
We love them.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Love the podcast. I'll get right to it. I was on a first date where he picked me up and drove me home. It was a great day. He did the planning and it was really interactive. We went to one of those adult arcade spots. I noticed when we got in the car to go home and he opened his phone to put on some music, he had a dating app opened up. This was obviously on a first date, but I guess I would not have a dating app as the first thing opened on my phone. Is this a red flag or deal breaker? What do you think this means about the date itself? Thanks for all that you do. A bee in the hive.
I think this is fine. It's kind of like a instinctual thing to just open a
Right.
dating Instagram, Twitter, dating app, whatever.
Yeah, it's part of your the app carousel.
Right.
It just enters into it, and it's why we probably get addicted to these apps and the feeling. I don't think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it enters your
You're
carousel,
saying it's not. It's a red flag.
It's not a red. I would say, yeah,
It's a
I would
small
say
red
it's a small red flag that this person you're dating might be hooked on the juice of a dating app, and you're someone he ended up out with, and he probably doesn't even know why. Like, I don't mean to scare the shit out of her.
That's what you just did.
I've just been on this date where, like, so I remember being on the dating apps.
Could you be having an amazing first date and still have this happen?
Yes. So on the spectrum of answers, this could be an amazing date. And yes, I could have opened my phone and the dating app could be there. So that's why she shouldn't stop pursuing this.
Okay.
I will say something to keep in mind is if you're going on, if it doesn't work out or it doesn't go to the second date, like this is to talk to the first emailer,
Mm-hmm.
then there is this thing, and I'm guilty of this, and I'm happy I'm off the apps now, where you're talking and talking and talking, and the reason you stopped talking to one and went on a date with another, you don't even know.
Right. It's all blur.
It's all a blur, and it's also like, yeah, this one just came down the river at the right time that my schedule worked
Right.
out for this.
So
So,
it might be a sign he's not dating with purpose.
right. That would be my, okay, maybe this is the
Right.
case.
Put
but
it in
that
his
doesn't-
file.
Put it in his file. It's on his resume.
Okay.
So it's not that he's
Should
not.
she say something? No.
No,
I don't
I think
think-
it's too early. But
Yeah.
like, also let's not let it get too late.
Right. Date 3 and she sees it, I would say something.
Yeah, date 3 and you're getting someone who's busy for 3 weeks and can't
Yeah.
get together. Busy. He's on dates.
Mm-hmm.
He's open up new business, so to speak.
Right.
So
all right. Well, good to know.
it's a flag that, like a little tiny one.
Small red flag.
Mhm.
All right. Hey, J&J, I was newly dating a guy when Taylor Swift announced the Eras Tour, and I'm a big fan. I kept talking about how excited and stressed I was about getting tickets for me and my friends. After I signed up for the Ticketmaster presale, I asked my new boyfriend to sign up as well to give me a better chance in case I wasn't selected for the sale. He told me he did. I ended up being selected for the sale and securing my tickets. However, a few weeks later, when he was first meeting some friends of mine, he told me in front of them that he never actually signed up for the sale. Betrayal.
Oh, no.
I was so
What a dumb idiot he is.
Yeah, what an idiot. I was so annoyed for the rest of the group hangout and couldn't understand why he lied about signing up when he knew I was so excited. We broke up a year later for unrelated reasons.
Unrelated?
This would be something in the back of your head. But this was just a red flag for me, although it did lead to our first fight. However, if I hadn't gotten the tickets, it might have been a deal breaker, LOL. So what do you guys think? Was this a red flag or a deal breaker?
Well, it wouldn't have been a deal breaker. Well, maybe if I was him.
I would need to know more about why he didn't do it.
Right. Well, that plus the fact that, like, if you said, oh, I didn't get the tickets, did you? He would go, didn't get them either. Like, it's a pretty easy lie.
Right.
So, but I don't know why he didn't keep the lie going.
Right. Do you think it's a deal? Okay, let's start with the two different things.
Okay.
One, that he didn't do it. She asked him to do it. She was so excited.
I think that's like a pretty big sign that, like, you're
Right.
you're
not even
such
trying.
a big Taylor, you're such a big Swiftie that you're stressed about getting the tickets. And you ask someone who is your boyfriend, you're not a boyfriend to not become a fiance.
Right.
You're a boy, so what are you here for?
Right.
So you become someone's significant other to make the relationship grow and go to the next.
You care about them.
You care about them, but you also want more. You know what you want. So to not do this, that's something that they care so deeply about. You're kind of seeing a boyfriend as just a label.
Right.
I if we want to look deeply into it, I would say it's a really big deal breaker.
I think so if he didn't do it just because he didn't want to do it. I think, like, to me, it's like, let's say.
Why on earth would he not want to do it? Now, if he forgot.
He didn't feel like doing it because it's like he just couldn't be bothered, right? But
Right.
that's a deal breaker. Let's say he was like, I was planning on doing it,
Mhm.
and then I kind of like got sidetracked with work and I forgot it was the time and I didn't actually do it, but I lied because I felt really bad and you had already gotten the tickets and I just didn't feel like I needed to say that I forgot to do it anyway.
Yeah, that's okay.
To me, like, I'm like, okay, fine. Like,
Right.
I might do the same thing if my husband was like, can you please get these Ranger tickets or something, whatever it was.
Totally.
And then I like missed it totally not on purpose. But if I was just like, yeah, I told you I would do it, and then I just like didn't feel like doing it, or like,
Right.
I thought it was kind of stupid, so I didn't do it, that's a deal breaker.
That I agree. Everything you said. Totally agree. The forgetful, like, not forgetting in a new relationship. Oh my God.
Right.
She loves Taylor Swift. I totally forgot.
Right. She got the tickets, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to tell. And there's also a difference between I've been trying, like, and like it's sort of like an opting into a lie and not saying anything. Like, if she got the tickets and you just never mentioned it,
Right.
I think that's different than. Are you on the site? Like, we're talking during it's happening? Did it load for you?
Right. And you're keeping this lie
Right,
going.
yeah.
I can understand why he wanted to, like, be free of it.
Right. I can understand why you wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to do it. It sounds annoying. But like, I would do it. I would do it if someone asked
Yeah.
me to and it meant a lot to them.
And I would forget this from someone
Yeah.
who's really important to. So, like, that's a thing that could happen.
Right.
But I don't know. It's weird to, like, be out with your friends and be like, yeah, I didn't sign up for that shit.
Right.
Like,
that part, that's something. That's a deal breaker.
How did
I
it come
think.
up that way?
Right.
Like, it seems very.
You'd have to be like a little embarrassed when you say,
Right.
you're like, oh, I never told you at the time because I liked you so much and I was afraid this would be like a thing, but I totally forgot about it. And I didn't actually go on the site.
If he said that in front of the friends that way,
Mm-hmm.
that makes her weird for telling us the story while leaving out.
Right.
That
If
he
that's
was
how
like,
it
I
happened.
totally forgot.
I'm sure it
and
didn't happen that way, but.
I don't know.
Right.
I would say if you're listening right now, one, he's fucked up. One, you're fucked up.
Yeah.
One or the other. I don't know who's fucked up. Because I think it's pretty mean to be in a relation with someone and then just like go, I thought that was stupid.
Yeah. And I pretended that I
Right.
didn't.
But
Right.
then it's also pretty mean to email a dating podcast and go, isn't he an evil person?
Right.
He just told my friends he didn't sign up for it when he was apologetic and said he forgot and had a whole story.
Right.
So
We need more information.
maybe this, more info. All right,
Mistrial.
let's
Mistrial. We declare mistrial.
Let's do one more.
Okay.
J&J, I came across Jared on my For You page on TikTok recently and quickly discovered his Netflix special, which I love, and then the podcast and became a faithful weekly listener.
What are you, living under a rock?
Wow. Well, no.
Kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm about to be like, this is how it should all happen.
I'm joking. I was a total joke.
Father algorithm provided for us. And Jordana, how'd you miss it? I was so happy.
Where have you been?
This makes me so happy.
This is the perfect life cycle.
This is why the internet is good.
Yes.
The internet did one good thing for us. Look at us.
Here you are. We're so happy to have you.
I have a good one for you guys. I've been online dating for longer than I care to admit. I always tell my friends this story, and it gets a laugh and a cringe simultaneously when I tell it. About 10 or so years ago, I met a man off a dating site at a local coffee shop. We happened to pull onto the parking lot at the same time, and when he approached me, he handed me a rose. Upon further inspection, the rose was a fake one, like that someone would purchase at the dollar store or a craft store. I had no words. I'm not a materialistic person, and what he thought was a sweet gesture to me was unnecessary and definitely gave me the ick. The date ended pretty quickly after that, and he wanted me to come to his apartment, and I declined. Is gifting a fake rose a red flag or a deal breaker? Thanks so much. Sincerely, better off without the rose, bitch.
To me, it's a deal breaker if it's fake or it's real. I don't care if it's fake or real. I think it's weird.
It's a little tacky.
Yeah.
Like you've never been on a date before and you like learned about it through Leave It to Beaver.
Right. You think this is what women want. It checks to me with that he tried to get her to his apartment.
Right.
It's like
you think little. It could be construed that you think little of the female brain.
That this guy does.
Yes.
Yes.
That he thinks.
You think this is all it takes.
Right. Like, right.
And you couldn't even go to a flower shop.
Well, flowers without thought is annoying.
It feels like gimmicky.
Right. I understand. Yeah. I could understand
it's like a guy who pulls out the pictures of his dog. It's like,
right.
You think that this is like all it takes?
You think I'm stupid?
Right.
You think I'm
or do you
just
think I'm so simple that this is all like, you're
right.
going to show me a picture of a dog and I'm going to like run to your apartment?
And it is one of those things that it does get simplified on the internet as far as like, she sounds like the bad person. Like, I like that she wrote in,
right.
But someone could easily make her look bad. What, a guy gave you a rose? He was a nice guy? You know,
first date?
I agree with you. Yeah. You and I are speaking from a nuanced, like, I think this guy, like, it's just like, dude, have a personality. Right. Like, what are you trying to cover up? Like, I agree that, but it is stuff like this that, she has to, if this was a Reddit thread, you would see the big losers come out and defend this behavior.
This
like,
is nice.
This is women being too materialistic. It'd be like all
I think that would be true.
Bros.
If this was a third date,
right.
And I would say you're being a little annoying. A first date, you bring out the fake rose.
Oh, so the email.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Well, the third date, I've already agreed to things, and to going out with him, and I've had a good time because I'm going on a third date.
It'd
Hey,
still
I
be
thought
a
of
little corny, but it would be cute.
Right. I was at CVS and I picked this up for you.
Right.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with it. Yeah, the rose out of the gate.
Right. Coupled with the come back to my apartment is like.
You can kind of see his worldview.
I'd be like, I can't believe I put on makeup for this.
Deal breaker.
Deal breaker. That's it for us.
We did it. We solved dating again.
We'll be back with our last Sunday special. Again, we're still having 2 episodes. It's going to come out on Friday.
Moving to Friday.
But not this week.
Boom.
Bye. The U Up podcast is produced by Belle Roman and Candice Maniga. Edited by Belle Roman. Social media by Candice Maniga. Guest booking by Ali Friedlander. VP of podcast is Chris Allen. And be sure to follow U Up at u.up.podcast.